across the area again, I can paint kind of back and forth and build it up. So one part of this might get only one application of it, another part might get 2 or 3 coats of it until it builds up to full strength. Then at any time I can go over here and fine tune these sliders. I can say bring more out of the shadows. Or maybe try higher exposure. You'll see those areas changing. If I want to tone down the bright part on her nose, then that's a different adjustment than this. I want to paint it into a different area of the picture, so I choose New near the upper right. And with New turned on, I guess at what kind of adjustment I want. Remember to reset them, double click on the word Effect. And in that particular case, I might want to bring my highlights down a little bit, because that's a brightish area. Get a much smaller brush. And I have my flow at 50%, meaning give me half of what I'm asking for. And I can come in here and try painting that in. There's an area where I need a little more. It's a little brighter on the side of her nose. I'll just paint across it more than once. Build up that effect. Now, I might be somewhat subtle what I'm doing, but if I mouse over the pin, when it shows the overlay, you can often notice, especially if I bring my flow way down, that some areas will look lighter red than others. Other areas will look more densely red because they're getting more of that application. Now, there are some instances, though, when I can really mess things up. Let's see if I come in here and, well, let's say I want to edit one of the pins that's already there. You see more than one pin on the image. The pin that's got a black dot in the middle is the active one. If I want to edit the one I had applied previously, where I originally clicked on her forehead to brighten things, all I need to do is move my mouse on top of that pin and click on it. When I click on it, the black dot will move over there. And that means that that one's active right now. And the sliders that appear over on the right should update to reflect what adjustment is being applied there. So if you watch the sliders on the right, I'll click on a different pin and watch the sliders. You see them change? So they're just reflecting what adjustment is being applied in each one of those. So let's say I was working on this one, and sometimes Photoshop gets in a weird mode where that red overlay stays there, even though I don't have a setting turned on telling it to stay there. If so, mouse over a different pin and then away, and sometimes it'll go away. It can be a bug in Lightroom. But let's say that I worked on that pin, and I just come in here to add some, and I'm just going to try to blatantly screw up. I'm going to try to brighten the area that is above her forehead. I get the flow at 100%, and I'm just going to say brighten this up a little bit, and I'll accidentally go out here. Whoops. I'll even bring up the sliders to make it more obvious of an adjustment, even though that she doesn't need that much on her face. I'm just trying to make it obvious that I've affected the sky. So now let's say I want to take away from it. That's where you go near the bottom and you choose Erase to say let's get rid of some of the adjustment. And I would usually go over here and paint. The problem is, how am I going to be able to precisely paint around the edge of her head? It's going to take a harder edge brush there, and I'd have to be very precise. It might be very easy to tell where I've painted and where I haven't. So there's a choice. I have this set to Erase, and there's a checkbox called Auto Mask. When Auto Mask is turned on, Photoshop is going to look at the color that is in the center of your brush. And it's going to try to only get stuff on that color or that brightness. When it sees a distinct change in brightness or color, it's going to stop applying paint. And so I'll come in here and I'm going to paint on this, and I'll let it kind of overlap onto her head wrap there. And what's happening, if we look at this, now notice I did allow the circle to overlap her head wrap. If I mouse over that pin, hover over it, do you see how it stopped removing stuff once it hit her head wrap that's there? That's because Auto Mask was turned on. And Auto Mask means try to prevent overspray onto other things. And so it can be an overly useful feature. If I wanted to brighten the rest of her wrap around her head, I would say that in here I want to change from the erase setting to over here the setting called A. What happens is if you want to already use the erase setting and you want to get back to adding to things, what you're really trying to do is